a look at the idea you can't prove a negative or you can't prove a universal negative. Not that long ago, but also long ago, I had 3 videos that said that you can't prove a universal negative. Yeah, it was true that you could prove a negative, a localized negative, but you couldn't prove a universal negative, and then I went on to explain what the bleep all of that meant. But then I found out I was kind of wrong. Technically wrong. The best kind of wrong that there is to be. Whoops. And then I was kind of an asshole to somebody. But, in my defense... okay, I don't have a defense. Alright, so... what is this saying? Why do we say it? What does it mean? What is it we're trying to convey with this statement? Maybe that's what we need to examine, because natural language is... it's not perfect. We mean certain things by the things that we say, and it's that meaning that we're trying to express. And so sometimes the words get in the way, but that's all we have is the words. So what do we do? Okay, so what do we mean, or what is it we're trying to say if we say that you can't prove a negative? So I thought of an example that I would go over with you so that I can explain what I think it is we're trying to say when and if we say that you can't prove a negative. Let's pretend for a moment that somebody believes that magic is really real. Who am I kidding? We don't even have to pretend. There are people that believe that magic is actually real, although they call it miracles. Same thing in my book, which is this magical book. But they say that this is magic, and here's an example of magic at play. Behold, they say, they proclaim very proudly as they demonstrate magic at work. A woman cut in half. She is alive and well, but she is split down the middle. This can only be accomplished by magic. Magic is what made this possible. And so I, ever ready as a skeptic, present alternative explanations to what might have happened instead. This illusion can be accomplished in a variety of ways. Here's one illustration of a possible methodology. Perhaps it was actually 2 women rather than 1, where one woman is hiding below the other woman, and her feet are then able to move. Women, broadly speaking, are more flexible than men are, and so can do a wide variety of different poses to make this illusion seem very realistic. You don't need 2 women, you could have fake feet. That works as well. And so any one of these methods could be used in place of magic. Thank you very much. Checkmate. Ah, you silly, silly skeptic. None of that proves that it wasn't magic. Sure, it could have been those things, but I'm saying that it's magic. You need to demonstrate to me that it is not magic. Your move. Well, the burden of proof is upon you. But let's see if I can take up that challenge. Okay, well, it's not magic because magic's not real. Well, you want me to prove that? Well, we've never observed magic. Well, I have to prove that now. We don't even know what magic is. Well, that doesn't matter. It could still be a thing. I don't know how to do that. Is there a way to do that? Uh-oh. Well, looks like I can't prove this negative. I can't prove that there isn't magic. Because, well, part of the problem is I don't even know what you mean by magic. But the real problem is, this isn't really my burden, it's yours. It's yours to demonstrate that magic is a thing in the first place. I shouldn't have to disprove something. You should have to prove it. Alright, skeptic. Very well. There is not magic. There. I've made a negative sounding statement that I don't have to prove. Ha 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 ha! Checkmate! No, that's not a negative. It sounds like a negative, but it's actually positive because the two negatives cancel each other out. Look, you have to prove the positive case. You have to prove the claim. The proof of magic is that there's no proof that there isn't magic. Ha 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 ha. No, that's not how anything works. So I believe that the idea that we're attempting to express with this perhaps wrongly worded, you can't prove a negative, or you can't prove a universal negative, which is only technically incorrect, I mean, that's it, is that the burden isn't on me to show that it isn't, the burden's on you to show that it is. Unless I'm claiming that the thing isn't, then I do have some sort of burden. But there is usually a way to show that something isn't, but it depends upon what that thing is. So the thing is the thing, unless it's not the thing, which the thing is. But you have to show me that the thing is a thing. See? Everybody got it? What? Alright, so usually there's this analogy given about the dragon in the garage. It's an invisible dragon that's in the garage. It's an invisible dragon that has no weight in the garage. It is an invisible dragon that has no weight and cannot be detected because, well, it's very, very small. It's always constantly in motion, so you can never capture it. In fact, it's a very smart dragon, and it will hide in the last place that you would think to look, and the moment you do look there, it has already moved somewhere else. So, see, the thing is, it's there. You can't prove it's not there, but that's not the point. The point is, you can't prove it is there. Russell formulated an analogy, saying that between Earth and Mars, there's a teapot orbiting the sun. It's too small to be detected by telescopes. So, you can't prove it wrong, therefore, must be right. This is, of course, an empirically unfalsifiable claim. The disproof is shifted to others to falsify it. And that is what I think the statement, you can't prove a negative, or can't prove a universal negative, is attempting to convey. The unfalsifiable claim is a problem. It's a bug. It is not a feature. It is something that is stated in such a way that nothing you can do could falsify it. But that doesn't make it true. What makes something true is that it actually is a thing that's true. And that should be something that you can demonstrably demonstrate. But if your formulation of the thing in the first place is something that is undemonstratable, and then you fold your arms and proclaim, aha, you can't prove it's not true, that's kind of the problem. You can't prove that it's true either, and that's the point. If you can't prove that it's true, I shouldn't believe it. And this all, of course, circles back to some theist assertions about God. Some apologists that are out there that will say, God is hidden. And God is hidden for whatever the reason is, but God is above and beyond our understanding, beyond logic, beyond reason. You have to just believe in God. You have to have faith in God. That's what it is. That's all it is. That's what God wants. He wants you to have faith in Him. How do you know it's a Him? How do you know you want faith? How do you know any of this? Well, because obviously, if God wanted me to know that there was a God, then there'd be evidence of God. There isn't evidence of God, therefore God wants me to have faith in it. And some say, well, if God gave us evidence, then you wouldn't have a choice but to think that there was a God. God wants you to be able to decide that it's not there. So it's giving you just enough evidence to be able to say, well, maybe it's there, maybe it's not there, and to make your decision based upon that. Although that doesn't make any sense to most reasonable people. But it doesn't matter because it rescues the idea from having any proof. God is outside of space-time. Somewhere and when we cannot possibly hope to observe. God is supernatural. What's supernatural? It's anything that's not natural. You can't use the natural world to investigate the supernatural world. I've placed it beyond the realm of proof, and then declared quite happily that it's true, and that it is now upon you to show that it's false. But you can't do that. And by the way, if you ask me for proof, you're doing a category error. The sort of God I'm talking about doesn't have evidence for it, because the sort of God I'm talking about is a supernatural God. So the sort of God that you're talking about is one that I can't believe in, because I can only believe in a God that had evidence for it. Your God doesn't have evidence for it, so I can't believe in it. And saying, well, but that's the problem, is you just don't understand. God doesn't have evidence for it. If God had evidence for it, then you would know that there's a no. Well, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying, is I would know that there was a God if it had evidence for it, but I don't know that. So you can't tell me that I do know. Yet many theists will say that you know. Theists will say, you don't want there to be a God. You hate God. You just want to sin. They'll say all sorts of things to justify their belief. Some very rare and somewhat smart theists will admit that it is just faith. That their God is a God of faith. They believe in it because they believe in it. They believe in it without any evidence for it, without any way to prove it, and they don't expect you to believe it because they are aware that the burden of proof is upon them and they cannot fulfill that burden of proof. This is an extraordinarily rare theist who will not try to attempt to prove to you that God is real, and simply say, I understand. Of course you don't believe in God. I wouldn't expect you to. I don't even know why I believe in God, but I do. And I'm just saying that I believe in God. And I would say to that, okay, there's nothing I can do about that. I don't believe in God. And I completely understand that you don't believe in God because you want God to give you evidence, and God, for whatever reason that I can't figure out, isn't giving you that evidence. But that sort of theist is very, sadly, rare. Most apologists try to say that there's proof of God, and of course what they mean by proof is that there's an argument that they have, and those arguments are of course very, very bad and full of logical fallacies. So, should we stop using the phrase, you can't prove a universal negative, or you can't prove a negative? Maybe. I don't know what phrase we would replace it with, though. I mean, you can't do an unfalsifiable claim. That doesn't sound quite right. You shouldn't make an unfalsifiable claim. Yeah, that's it. You shouldn't make unfalsifiable claims. Is that claim unfalsifiable? No, this claim is unfalsifiable. How do you falsify the claim that you can't unfalsify, that you should So, in conclusion, lobsters. Okay, wait. I think I've got it. Don't say stuff that you can't prove is true. Yes, you can prove the statement that you shouldn't say things that aren't true. Because it's true that you shouldn't say things that aren't true. That's the proof. The proof is that it's true that you shouldn't say things that aren't true. Then you can't prove that it's not. No, you can't. No, I can't. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. No, I've got it. Wait. No. Wait. No. No. Wait.